All right, 4-game road trip upcoming for the Sixers. We'll have the post game on the road, of course, on Wednesday and on Friday. Late nights, we'll all be together. That said, it starts in Phoenix. It starts with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal is playing. Grayson Allen is hitting shots all over the place. Royce O'Neal's made plays for them. And Nurkic is a rebounding machine at times for them out there for the Phoenix Suns. Right now they're at 39-29, where the Sixers are 38-30. So right there, record-wise, they're the same. Different situations, though, out west versus east. Looking at it right now, Derek, when you look at the Phoenix Suns matchup against the Sixers, what are you looking at here with this basketball team as we get things started?
I mean, I don't know how the hell they're going to defend them. Like, this is one of those teams where when they're healthy and when their two guys are on the floor, the Sixers just have no chance. Especially, I mean, look, I don't want to make too much out of Tobias Harris' availability. We've all watched him play over the last couple of weeks. He is at least big and at least committed as a one-on-one defender. If he doesn't play, and I think it sounds like he'll at least travel with them, so who knows? But I think this is one of the teams that's a pretty uniquely bad matchup just because of the size they have and their scorers on the perimeter. Yeah, look, I'm not particularly enthused about any of these 4 games.
No,
to be honest.
We mentioned it last night. There's a real good chance that they go winless on this trip over 4. It just happens that way because it's a tough spot right now. 1 would be fantastic, but starting off with the matchups of who's going to defend Durant, who's going to defend Booker,
nobody,
who's going to defend Beal.
That's the answer. Nobody.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not a great.
Someone will attempt it, but nobody will actually do it.
It's not a great matchup. It's not a great matchup.
Oh, so I'm going to say on the show what I said to you guys before we did the show. Sunday's game against the Clippers is maybe the most unwinnable game of the Sixers season.
Come on out to the check, everybody.
And
we'll talk it out.
It'll be a great time because everyone will be able to commiserate. And the Bull RJ is going to say that this is because I'm obsessed with Paul George. The Sixers spending 3 days in LA and then playing a 12:30 local time matinee in LA. You are asking for the Sixers to lose by like 55
James
points.
Harden is going to try to sabotage and pull Tyrese Maxey out on the town like he does.
I was going to say, the only way they have a chance is if James is also out the whole night before. The difference being that he's used to it. He's built for that life. He's got the reps. He knows how to all right, this is when I got to start drinking my water. Yep. This is when I got to call it a night and head home. Those guys who are out in LA for the one LA trip a year, listen, and I'm not casting any aspersions. I'm heading for warm weather myself. I won't even be around for this game. I just look at that and say, the NBA schedule makers were just let's just give them a nice fat L in the middle of March here.
It's gonna be tough. If there's a game to win, it's probably the front end of that, which is the Lakers game on Friday night. Yeah, that's the game. They haven't been playing great. Anthony Davis has been playing up and down, but he's been good all season long, where it's all NBA conversation, of course, but up and down with them. LeBron frustrated with them, and you have so many. D'Angelo Russell can shoot them out of a game. Now they have Spencer Dinwiddie. There's a chance there that they could win that game, but asking for a split along this series is going to be tough. But if they do start off that way, where there's an opportunity, final game against Sacramento, who's also fighting for playoff spot, you never know what could happen. But it's going to be a really tough 4-game road trip for this basketball team.
Yeah, and look, one of the things that I think, to play devil's advocate on my own position for the Clippers game, but also the rest of the trip.
Also, he's just trying to salvage our check.
The defense has been good enough that you can at least talk yourself into, okay. Before it was either they outscore the other team by getting into a track meet and scoring a bunch of points, or they're cooked. Well, they've been able to win some games now where they're defensive slugfests for the most part, and guys are bought in, guys are rotating. I think Nick Nurse, I should say. The Batum thing always screws me up. Nick Nurse has said recently there's been a refocusing on the initial principles they came into the season with. Some of that's because they've had some new guys on the roster, and they're playing with different guys now than they were in October, November, December. And I think you're seeing that. I think that's bearing fruit at this point. And so they probably can keep themselves in some games defensively. I'm not going to say definitely because the effort comes and goes, and I still think they have a lot of guys in that rotation and lineup combinations that frankly don't work very well or shouldn't work very well on paper. But the floor being higher on defense makes me feel better about their chances in any game. These are particularly tough games because they're teams that are all battling for positioning on top of being road games, on top of being on the West Coast where you got to go through that initial time zone switch, which is real as somebody who travels a decent amount. So we shall see. But to me, that's the number one thing I want to see on this trip is sustaining the defensive play of the last week and a half or so, because that's important to stealing not just these games, but potentially whatever games are left without Joel.
And with Tyrese Maxey playing back from the concussion, not worried about any ankle injury or anything like that, he is an all-star level player. We see that he can get hot. Is it possible, of course, that he has that in him to steal one of these games for them?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, and that's why there's a chance they go 1-3. I feel a little guilty setting that as sort of like the high water mark. I'd be stunned if they go 2-2. But look, the Lakers game is not completely unwinnable. There's a chance they could steal that. I think the Kings game is going to be tough. The Kings are playing really good basketball right now. Maybe a little bit under the radar. But yeah, he could get hot in any one of these, even like Tobias. Could get hot in one of these and maybe give you a boost that you're not expecting him to. These are not, it's like any one game is winnable. But in terms of winning a couple, I would be really stunned.
We all silly like the mayor.